What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to do a brake and rotor change on a 2019 Nissan Versa. It's really simple. So first off, we're going to get started on the right hand side. I am going to be doing other work other than the brake job on this vehicle. That is going to be the axle. I know previously I did fix it before. The CV axle is still making a little weird noise. That can be due to misaligning, but I'm going to show you guys the whole process along the way. So first off, we're going to get off the hubcap. Then it's a size 21 on the Nissan Versa, which is a really big nut. After that, we're going to pop the wheel off, put it to the side, and I'll catch you when all that is took it off. Alright, so once you have all your nuts broken off, 4 nuts, size 21, you want to get your trusty dusty jack and start jacking off your car. Or jacking up, sorry, jacking up. So I have it right there on this frame, and we're just going to keep jacking up and up and up. You can see it's slowly slipping off. Bam, just like that, the car took its own tire off. Now if you look, our brake pads are relatively small. They're not too bad. I'm going to take them off the car and show you guys a size comparison. But basically what we're going to be doing is removing the bolts back here. This bolt back here and the one underneath. After that, we're going to remove the whole entire caliper assembly, pull it up to the side, and then replace our pads. Take this rotor off. It's honestly not that bad looking, but it is kind of thin. This is my daily driver. If you guys watch the rest of the videos on the channel, we drove this thing all the way to Wisconsin, back and forth. I replaced the control arms, axles, a whole lot of good stuff. But this is my daily driver, so definitely brakes are a must. Alright guys, so my apologies. Before I actually get into the video and full on depth of how to actually do this, there's a few tools that you're going to need, and there's a few things that I've learned along the way, and it's very crazy. It's 3 in the morning. There are people walking around, there are people smoking. As you guys know, I don't like being distracted, and this is one of the problems of working on the streets. I do have a friend with a workshop, but 3 in the morning. He's not there at the workshop at 3 in the morning, and to drive over there, the car would get overheated. Well, it'd be hot, and I don't want to work on a hot car. Who loves working on a hot car? So I'm getting distracted. All these people around me. The axle came off, but the nut stripped coming out. Fun. This is the left side, guys. So I just want to show you guys this real quick before we actually tune into the video. There is also a mosquito. And actually, this little guy right here, he just turned around. But the left side brakes, before I show you guys the video, I know I've been saying this for a minute. This is the left side. You can see how thin they are. Boom. Super shiny, super clean. There isn't any rough spots on this one, but let's get into the video of changing out the right side. Honestly, I should have told the person a little more cheaper on the rotors. I think these are about like 65 bucks each, so about 130, but you can see how thick they are. And these are a little bit thinner. Looks like they have all of our clips, stuff like that goes in. Doesn't look like we have all these little pins and stuff. I could be wrong. Maybe that's what it is in the back right there. So each caliper on every single car is always different. We're going to figure it along the way with you guys how exactly these slide in. There is instructions on there, so we'll look at those in just a moment. But first, let's check out our pads. Pretty thick meaty boys. So let's go ahead and start doing these bolts in the back. And we're going to be aiming for that big lug right there, which looks like a 17. So we're going to take a 17, take one bolt off from the top, and then obviously the bottom. And then I'll catch you guys when I get everything unbuttoned and unbolted. So I've done so many brake jobs, and I honestly know the sizes without looking at everything. That's one bolt on the top broken, so just got it loose. And I'm going to get the other one on the bottom loose as a goose. So basically I have it in a downward position, knee pad on the ground, and just kind of jump up on it. And with that knee pad on the ground, protecting my knee. Didn't do that for the first bolt, but Yeah, lesson learned after your first nut. Alright, so with both of your nuts out, basically you want to get a red, specifically a red nylon tie, because they look cool. And you want to attach it to the top of the spring right here, well, the bottom of the spring. And then with two hands, you want to grab this one. And it's not dangerous. I know all the techs out there are going to be like, oh my god, why'd you hook it with this one? Well, these guys go in and out when you compress your brakes. I know it's not going to put a lot of pressure on there. It's going to be dangling. This thing's maybe like 5-6 pounds. We are going to remove the brake pads from it. So I'm going to dangle it up there. These are the nuts from underneath. Okay, so just like that, she is floating, just like my hopes and dreams to get this thing 100%. We're going to take this rotor right off and compare it side by side. You can see the whole entire hub assembly and everything else like that. Pretty cool, pretty small. It's going to make it honestly a lot more lighter and easier to take this axle out and realign it and then put it back in. Hopefully it runs okay. So we have our right rotor and we have our, let me actually make a little movie magic. Hold on. Was that pretty cool or what? Nah, kidding. That wasn't the best. But factory rotor, a little bit thin, not too bad. Our aftermarket one, I'm not gonna roll on the ground like that because he's a lot more thicker. I don't know if it's me or I'm tired, but it does look a little warped. Looks a little warped. Kind of crazy. Should be flat to the ground, but it has little marks on there too to help grab on. The way you can tell if your rotor is really bad, honestly, if it has a little bit of lips and ridges. So if you guys, even if it's on the car, you can put your finger on the rotor carefully. You could touch this. Brake dust is not super harmful unless you consume a lot, but if you feel ridges on there, it does need it, especially if you feel one right here, because there is times to where there's videos out there where this disc part right here disconnects for the hub part, and it is very dangerous because then you won't have no brakes. So this is still a good rotor. Check out the rear side. There still is smoothness, which is a good thing because there's no nasty lips. There's a nasty lip right here. For the most part, this rotor is still good. So in a worst case situation, you know, I have a spare rotor for any kind of reason, but that's basically still good. So now we're gonna check out our brake pads, and actually let's pop open the instruction bag. Hold on. Honestly, this paper was more fragile than my crappy transitions. So, caliper system number 1. Both of them are in Spanish, huh? So, it looks like Legos. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. That is very helpful. Inner pad assembly, understand that one. Pad shim. Oh, okay. Admin bracket. It doesn't look like it's going to be too hard. We're just going to basically slip it out, and it looks like it goes onto a bracket on the very top, aka the shim. So we're going to just pop that one out. Okay, with the power of movie magic editing, trial and loss, guys. So what we did was we wind up pulling the second part of the caliper off from the sliding pins, took it over here to our workbench, and basically the way how you're going to do this at home, you do have your spacers. It's better to put on the new ones because the older ones have some warping or even some dust on there and just unwanted stuff, so kind of throw those out. But put in the new ones, they go in just like that, and then you have your sliding locking pins. Basically those just sit on the outside like that. Like I said, trial and error, bend that one a little bit, but the reason why these aren't in any kind of thing, they're gonna basically be from right here, and they're gonna sandwich down when you put them together on the car. You can kind of see the area where that little spot right there, little rusties. The brake pad right there, there's actually those little pins that are in the back of the shims. Alright, so we're gonna grab our rotor and slide it on there. I think it's kind of heavy, so bear with my one hand justice. Okay, so just a brief tool bit by bit we're gonna need. You're gonna need a 14. Okay, that's for your sliding pins. You're gonna take those bolts out, call it a day. You're gonna need a 21. Take your nuts off. This is for the Nissan Versa. Could vary depending on what kind of car you have. Okay, so those are 2 bolts, 2 tools that you need. You're also gonna need a ratchet, a flathead to take off your hubcaps, and you're also going to need a size 17 for the back of the nuts. I know it's all over the place, and now it's getting even more distracting and more late. All these people keep walking around distracting me. It's like 3 in the morning, almost 4. I don't know why there's so many people walking around. I get it, people gotta work, but that's driving. I don't know. And oh yeah, another good pair of tools to have, guys, if you don't have C-clamps or anything else, to squeeze this guy in. I use a vice grip. Basically, try not to damage the boot, but I do have the hood open and the brake thing is open, the reservoir. So basically you want to just get your vice grips and grip on the top of them, just like that. And you want to have this kind of like small, so when you do grip, it'll actually pull it in. So that way your caliper, that way yeah, your other caliper bracket and your brake pads can fit nice and cozy. Alright, I hope that didn't give you guys too much of a headache. My apologies for being all over the place. But now I have this thing held up by my hand. But you can see the fresh new brake pads are in. Boom, boom. So once again, just a quick recap, guys. Basically, you want to just take apart everything of the brake. The big 17 bolts holding this thing into place. You can hear right now those little clips clipping back and forth from the back of the pads, which is strange because the Fiat one has it like a whole entire bracket right here. This one, they have it all right here, but it's hidden, so you can't really tell like, oh, where do they go, because they're kind of low-key. So also you're gonna need to take apart the slider pins, and that's pretty much it. It's not too bad. Oh, then a quick tip, I did put some lug nuts in just to hold the rotor closer to the hub. That way it's easier to slide this in. It's not all wobbly. But I'm going to just tighten everything up, show you guys everything once again. Bam, just like that. She is all done, buttoned up, looking super clean, shiny and new, thick and ooh-wee. Any questions, comments? Comment down below, let me know. I know the video is a little bit of a headache. Once again, just a quick recap. All you're going to need is 14 for the top. I recommend breaking those off first. Don't take them off, break them. After that, you're gonna need a 17. Take the main caliper off. So you take that off from the very back. 17. Then after that, when everything is disassembled, you're gonna get the caliper and you're gonna basically put your brakes in first. So kind of imagine it as your caliper, right? You want to get your brakes lined up, and this is just a bracket. Now keep in mind, yes, you're still going to need to put in the shims, right? Top and bottom shims. Basically, after that goes in, you have this kind of assembly in the vehicle. And I would show you guys with the left one, but I want to keep this video sweet and simple. Make sure you put these guys in the back. This piece right here is what you're going to be assembling outside of the vehicle. You're going to have these pins stuck onto this piece right here. These are slider pins for the caliper. This is the main caliper bracket right over here. Your adapter, your brake pad, your little V-clips that go in the back to hold it into place. That's all going to sit into here. You're going to need a pair of vice grips or C-clamps if you have them, fancy pants. Close that caliper down. Put this guy, all the assembly, back together. Carefully slide these pins over, tighten down the bolts, 14, so that way it's held in there. And then obviously it's going to be sitting inside this main caliper area. That's where the piston is at. So there's a 1-piston brake. Once everything's all put up, your brake rotor, put that on by putting a couple of lug nuts so it's nice and straight to the hub. And then after that, just put your whole caliper assembly, your brand new brake pads, your V-clamps, your brand new shims, everything's going to be all on there. Put that Jean right up on there. After that, you should be good to go. So thank you guys for making it this far in the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff. And as always guys, stay safe and stay chill.